Welcome to video blog 3. This question was asked by Jody, a fellow community member. She wants to know basically is if women need different macronutrient ratios than men. For anyone that doesn't know what a macronutrient is, it's a breakdown of the proteins to fats to carbohydrates within a person's diet. So I wish that there was a simple ratio that I could give you, Jody, but there's so many factors that play into this question, and here's just a couple of them. Obviously, every person is different. Every body is different. You know, where you hold fat is going to be different than where my body chooses to hold fat, or where someone else's body chooses to hold fat. How you build muscle is going to be different, how fast your metabolism is and how it functions. These are just a few of the things that play into it. Your body type, are you a mesomorph, are you an ectomorph, are you an endomorph? What do these terms mean? Exactly. This just goes further into your question that warrants an answer, because it's too hard to completely answer your question without knowing these things about your particular body type or your soma type. Women, they tend to hold fat more than men. So when a man competes, he comes in probably around 3 to 4% body fat. When a woman comes in to compete, she comes in about 12 to 14%. And that's when she looks scary, ripped, and lean. So obviously you're going to hold more fat than a male is. So you would think that the ratios would be different, right? A lot of times I've found that it sucks to be a woman because of the stress hormones. You guys obviously have it worse than men, having to go through your time of the month, and I wake up every day feeling blessed that I don't have to go through that, because when I get cravings, they come bad, and I can't imagine how it is when you guys have to deal with it every single month, or even more frequently than that. What you do have to realize though is how these hormones play a key role in how your body functions and how it processes the macronutrients you put in it, particularly the carbs and the sugars. These are things that can wreak havoc on your body if you don't ingest them at the right time, you don't ingest the right kinds. There's so many factors that play into it that it's very hard to answer your question. What are your goals in terms of what you want to accomplish right now? Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to lose fat? Do you want to maintain what you've earned? These are another thing that need to be answered before we can get into the root answer, the root ratio, the exact ratio that you want, that you seek. There is no golden ratio. Bodybuilding, in a lot of ways, a lot of people see it as shallow, but it's science. You have to learn your body down to, this food makes me feel bloated, but this food probably is going to make you feel alright. Like I said, everybody is different. How I react, my diet isn't going to be exactly like your diet or like the other person. You ask anyone, that's just how it goes. A lot of my clients, I set them up on a standard ratio just to get a baseline, and then I go from there to tweak it to how, based off their goals, I tweak it. And then as the weeks go on, as I see progression, I can kind of get an idea of how their body's reacting to the foods that we're putting in it and the training that we're doing. I can give you kind of a starting ratio. That's all I can do for you right now. So it kind of just depends on what your goals are. If you're wanting to do the muscle building, the ratio is going to be higher carbohydrates usually, because you're going to be training very hard and intensely, and they usually say to shoot for around 40 to 60% of your carbohydrates, about 25 to 35 of your protein, and 15 to 25 of your fat. Okay, if you're in maintenance mode, you want to drop the carbohydrates down because you're not taking in as many calories. So you're probably around the 30 to 50 range of carbohydrates, 25 to 35 protein, 25 to 35 fats. And then the fat loss you're going to always go on the low range of carbs. That's the first thing you always cut out when you're trying to do fat loss is carbs. You just cut those out. And a lot of times it makes you feel lethargic, and that's just what happens. It just comes with it. So what I like to do when I'm on a low carb diet is I'll do a couple days very low carbs, and eventually you're going to start to feel like crap. You're going to get tired. And then on the 6th or the 7th day, I eat carbs. I carb up. And it makes me feel better. It refreshes my drive to keep pursuing what I'm doing. And guess what? The next day I wake up and I'm actually leaner than the day before. It's weird, but it's true. And that's because that's one of the hormones that kicks in, which it's so hard to get into everything. Your question is so loaded that there's so many things that come into play that it's so hard to answer your question. Like I said, I've just got this baseline for you, and that's all I can give for you right now. Yeah, so I pretty much went over all I could in terms of that. If you want to know anything else, feel free to comment below and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. Without getting into the nitty-gritty of what your body needs and what you're doing to it now and what your goals are and everything, I can't give you an exact ratio. But if you want to go over something like that, then yeah, we can do that. So just let me know. Alright, well, I know that was it was probably one of the more confusing video blogs, and I apologize, but that's just because that's a topic I could cover for probably an hour or two, just because it has so many different branches. What is a somatype? What is a macronutrient? How do these play a role in our body? How does your body break down carbohydrates and sugars? These are all questions that need to be answered, and they can be. So, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Keep the questions coming. Alright, I'll talk to you guys soon.